How's it going, guys? Today we're going to do a video on how to tune your possum traps. So it's a pretty important thing to know, and we haven't done a video on it yet, so we thought we better do one. So yeah, we've got a perfectly tuned possum trap here. Now when you first buy your possum traps, it's a good idea to go through them all, set them, and just make sure they are tuned right. So I'll just set this trap and show you what a tuned trap looks like. So you want to set so your trigger plate's right on the edge of that latch there, and I'll just hold that there, and as you can see the trigger plate's nice and level with the rest of the trap. It's just slightly higher, and that's sort of what you're looking for. As long as it's on the edge and it's sitting at that sort of an angle, it's really good because it's at a perfect height for a possum to stand on it, because it's slightly higher than the rest of the trap, but it's also well within the trap. So this is the main part of the trap that gets bent either by possums when they get caught in the trap. Sometimes they'll manage to get that hooked on the chain and bend it, or sometimes a deer or a pig will get into your trap or stand on it or whatever and bend that piece of steel there. Alright, so we've got a trap now that needs tuning, so I'll just set it, and it looks like the same trap at first glance, but to set this trap now you have to have your trigger plate right on that really harsh angle, and that's just because this part of the trap here, which is attached to the trigger latch, has been bent that way. Sometimes it'll be bent the other way, and your trigger plate, you'll have the opposite problem. Your trigger plate will be too far in your trap. Sometimes it'll be so far in the trap actually won't go off, because it'll be hitting the base of your trap before it comes off your trigger latch. The reason I don't like my traps when the trigger plate's poking up in the air like that is because the possum can set the trap off without being very far in the trap, so it can have its foot way up here. These the catch range on these jaws isn't very big, so if a possum stands on this trigger plate way up here, sets the trap off, you'll probably only catch it by a toe, or you might not catch it at all. You just get a bit of fur in your trap. So that's the reason we don't like that. So to fix the problem, it's pretty simple. You just have to bend this little piece of steel back. So I usually use my hammer because that's what I've usually got with me in the bush or wherever I am. So you just bend that back as far as you think, like so, and then you can, just a matter of trial and error. That's better, but I'd like it slightly down a wee bit more. And yeah, there we go, that's about perfect. So another thing you can do to muck around with your traps is you can muck around with your trigger latch here. So depending on how you want your trap to be, for catching possums I like my trigger latch pretty much straight, and that's quite a nice pressure, I think. You can bend that, so I'll just show you how to do that. I just put it on a piece of wood and give it a tap right in the middle with a hammer. Like so, and then you have a slight bend in it, and what that will do is when you set your trap, you'll have to tune the bit we just showed you as well, because that will shorten up your trigger latch, but it'll just make your trap a bit more of a hair trigger, so it'll be easier to set off. So there's less pressure because your trigger latch is on a sort of downward slope, and it's easier for the animal to trigger your trap, depending on what you want to be catching. If you've got a lot of rats in the area, then you probably want quite a lot of pressure on your traps, because otherwise the rats are just going to get caught in all your traps. Obviously you don't want too much pressure, so you want to make sure that the possums are going to be able to set your trap off, and they're not going to have to do the haka to set it off. So I'll just bend that back. So yeah, it pays to just muck around with them a bit, and you can feel the tension yourself. So you just put your finger under the jaws like I've been doing, and you can feel yourself how hard that possum has to stand on the trap before it sets it off. And so you can just adjust it to whatever you're happy with, and trial and error, and you'll figure out the best way that works for you. You can also bend your trigger latch up the opposite way, and that'll obviously make the tension higher. And the reason we like to set them right on the edge, no matter how you've tuned your trap, I like to have the trigger plate on the edge of that latch. And the reason for that is if you have it right up, whenever an animal stands on that trigger plate, it's going to have to push that trigger plate right down, and there's a lot of movement in there, and that could possibly alert the animal to the fact that it's standing on a trap, obviously. So it might make it not get caught, or make it jump when the trap goes off and not get caught properly. Sweet as, I think that's about it. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and stay tuned for more videos. Sweet.